Weekend Geopolitical Briefing, covering developments from January 16th, 2026 through January 18th, 2026. Theme of the weekend: pressure, leverage, and hard diplomacy. From Ukraine's winter battlefield to Gaza's next phase, to Arctic security around Greenland, the Trump administration's approach was consistent: define interests clearly, raise the cost of stalling, and push allies and adversaries toward outcomes that protect American security. First, Ukraine and Russia. Over the weekend, Ukraine reported heavy waves of Russian drone strikes across multiple regions, damaging energy infrastructure and adding to winter power shortages. In response, Ukrainian leaders spoke about accelerating imports of electricity and equipment as the country faces a cold weather test of resilience. At the same time, a Ukrainian delegation traveled to the United States for talks that included future security arrangements and post-war recovery planning. From a pro-Trump perspective, the important point is this: the administration is trying to end the war with real enforceable terms, not endless blank checks and vague timelines. The message to Moscow is that escalation and energy terror do not produce strategic victory, and the message to Kyiv is that American support must be matched with a serious, workable path to security that can last. A related development: Ukrainian drone strikes reportedly hit energy infrastructure in Russian-occupied southern Ukraine, leaving large numbers of households without power, while Russia continued targeting Ukraine's grid. This is the grim reality of energy warfare in winter. Civilians pay the price, and the longer the conflict drags on, the harder rebuilding becomes. Second, Gaza and the ceasefire plan moving into Phase 2. This weekend followed the U.S. announcement that Phase 2 of the Gaza plan is underway, described as shifting from ceasefire mechanics toward demilitarization, technocratic governance, and reconstruction. U.S. officials warned Hamas that compliance matters, including obligations related to hostages, and that failure would bring consequences. Supporters of President Trump see a clear strategic logic here. Phase 1 stops the bleeding. Phase 2 aims to prevent a return to the cycle. That means pushing toward governance that can function without terror infrastructure and creating conditions where reconstruction is possible without empowering militants. It is a difficult roadmap, but it is more concrete than the endless process diplomacy the region has suffered for years. Third, Greenland and the Arctic. Tariffs as leverage. Over the weekend, President Trump escalated pressure on several European countries with tariff threats linked to Greenland's security and future. European leaders criticized the move, and Greenland's officials publicly welcomed expressions of European support. But markets also reacted, highlighting how high the stakes are when trade, defense alliances, and Arctic strategy collide. In the Trump-aligned view, this is not random chaos. It is leverage applied to a strategic map. Greenland sits in a rapidly militarizing Arctic, and the administration is forcing NATO partners to confront a blunt question: